Counselors, welcome back to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we are back with another video covering Halo. That's right. You know, it hurts my soul. You know, Halo Campaign Evolved is just another Halo 4 situation for me where I like it. I know I'm in the minority. I'm never going to convince anyone otherwise, so I'm just going to, enjoy it. But it's only fair to see what other people's opinions are on it. So we're actually going to react to legendary drops today. That's right. Legendary drops, like watching his content. Interested to see his opinion. One of the few people that actually care, especially since he's usually not over, dramatic in the sense that he just hates to hate. Like, he's very articulate and very on point. So I'm going to be very interested to see what he has to say. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit one of these.
Comment of the day.
Comment today is by TechVery, one of our members. Shout out to TechVery. I haven't got the game, but I would like to see why so many people like it. Personally, I haven't tried it. It looks fun, but again, I'm not inclined to buy it either. This was about Power World and me asking what people think about it. Thank you to Very for your support, and let's get back to the video. That's right, we are back into the video. We're gonna react. This game is so fried. Hurts my soul to hear it, but we're already going into it, shall we?
They are handing you guys the blueprints, and all you got to do is just copy this word for word and line for line, and you still find a way to mess it up.
Listen, 10 seconds in, I've got to say based. There were things that they fucked up. I don't know why they changed it. It did piss me off. Like, certain iconic lines were removed. They removed certain weapon locations. They removed random boulders on the map. Why? I don't know. But I can agree.
Honestly, it's so pathetic that it's actually kind of impressive at this point. I have seen so many people that have been trying to defend Halo Campaign Evolved, bending over backwards, talking in circles, calling you a grifter or calling you a tourist for not liking the game or criticizing it in any way, just because
I think it's also I want to make a point here. It's also the other way. I have been called a Riri multiple times because I said I like it, or that there's something wrong with me, and people continue to cite the 3 bonus missions, which even in my brutally honest review for the game, I shit down the 3 bonus missions. I like the remake, but I also don't, I don't think it should be $50 either. I don't think they should be charging premium for skins in a single player game. There's a lot that I didn't agree with. But the game itself is fine. It's fun. It's enjoyable. But if you say that, well, you're part of the problem. I was like, I disagree. I think you can play games to have fun, but you should also voice what you don't like, which I have. But I also disagree that people who are grifting who've never played it, and I defend those people by saying, you don't have to play video games nowadays to understand whether you like it or not. You don't. You can watch someone play a whole playthrough of a game, get the story, the narrative, see the gameplay, and come to a conclusion without purchasing it. We live in 2026, modern age. We're not back in 2000s where the only information you get is from a Game Informer article or watching a video from GameStop. You actually can get information live and see whether you like something or not. I just want to put that because both sides have merit. And both sides usually get attacked with either you're a grifter if you never played the game, or you are stupid for supporting and buying the game or having a good time. Like, I think the Halo Campaign Evolved has issues. It's not the worst thing. This isn't High Guard. This isn't Marathon. This isn't like very completely messed up. The game itself is still classic Campaign Evolved. Or Combat Evolved with, a couple narrative changes like removals and small additions. Overall, though, it's still the same game, just prettier. Yes, you can like it and criticize at the same time. That's what opinion is. Exactly. But I'm not going to hate on anyone that says they hate it. That's your opinion. I said the same thing about people that said they like Marathon. If you like Marathon, that's your opinion. And I'm not going to try to convince people that their opinions are wrong unless you're unhinged and acting weird. Then I'll make fun of you. But outside of that, it's whatever. You don't like it. You don't like it.
Nobody wants to come out and admit that Halo is completely fried. And this game has been for a long time. And this one is no different. Campaign Evolved can be good at times. But it's only that good because it's still Halo underneath it.
Exactly.
It's still Combat Evolved underneath it. Like, it's only...
And that is a good point. Like people attacking, saying the narrative is woke, you are a grifter, you have no idea what you're talking about. But if you're talking about like, oh, the gameplay is good, but why are X, Y, and Z things that you changed? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Like, for instance, why did you change the mob to look really cool? And, thematically, the mob mission looks fantastic, but the Warthog run is easy now because you remove some of the elements that made it a challenge. That is something that is fair and it's not positive for the game.
Good despite itself, despite all of the
you still managed to fuck it up
of useless added garbage that they threw on top of it and changes that are honestly pretty offensive in some cases. Changes, mind missions. That feel like they came from people that genuinely hold a grudge against both the original and the audiences that played them.
Or, like when we're talking about the bonus missions, have no idea who Master Chief is. Making him a chatterbox? In a prequel? What?
In my eyes, Halo should be the pinnacle of gaming. There is absolutely no excuse whatsoever for this not to be one of the best games in the industry. It is Xbox's entire identity. It is a cornerstone of this entire industry. Yet year after year, like many other franchises, we have to watch it get drug out into the town square and contorted into something that nobody can recognize anymore. Mostly because these guys have no idea what it even is. So today, I'm sick of it. I want to talk about my experience playing Halo Campaign Evolved. I want to talk about how the conversation around this game has gotten to be completely unhinged and how these guys are just going to continue to ruin these franchises because none of these guys understand what they are. Also, this is a really good opportunity to introduce you to Dio. And also today's sponsor,
I want a kitten now, damn it.
Displate. Got you. That's right. Today's video is sponsored by Displate, and if you have somehow never heard of them before,
I have one.
Never watched one of my videos,
I listen. He's plugging, but I'm gonna plug too. I'm gonna plug with him. We're plugging together. Me and Legend are plugging together. We're gonna plug each other. That's right. All right. So let's go plug. All right. I'm gonna plug. We're plugging. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. Duh. Me and Legend, we're plugging. Love it. I haven't put it on the wall because I still hadn't figured out where to put it. But me and Legend are plugging. Let's plug it together, Legend. You and me. We're plugging.
Well, they make metal posters that are incredibly easy to put up in a really simple way to make your setup, office, bedroom, studio, or whatever goblin cave you have feel like your own. And the best part is they have an absurd amount of stuff to choose from. Gaming, anime, movies, fantasy, sci-fi, sports, cars, maps, whatever you guys want. They have something for it. I'll tell you that right now. And if they don't, you can just make it yourself. Displate also lets you create custom displays so you can upload your own images and turn it into a metal poster. So whether it's art, a screenshot, a dumb inside joke, a channel logo, maybe like mine, or something that you just want to put on your wall, you don't have to scroll forever hoping to find something. You can just make it. They're also insanely easy to put up. You stick a magnet to the wall, put the Displate on the magnet, and you're done. No frames, no nails, no wall damage, no nothing. So if your walls are looking like you just moved in, or maybe you just want to upgrade your space, go to displate.com/@legendary drops to get the best deal, or use my code legendary at checkout. Check the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you to Displate for sponsoring today's video. I need people to understand something. I love Halo. I love this franchise. And man, watching what it has become over the years has to be one of the most painful experiences of my life as a gamer.
Sorry, I didn't hear anything he said because I was too busy plugging with him. That's funny. Sorry. I have to put it back up later. I'm just gonna lay it flat behind me so I don't end up dropping on a cord because I had it all leaned up specifically in location. Yeah, you listen. When you start helping someone advertise and you get none of the profits, it's called volunteer work. All right, so what about being the worst thing you ever played? Because I don't believe that.
Description and in the pinned comment. Thank you to Displate for sponsoring today's video.
Fantastic
I
quality.
need people to understand something. I love Halo.
Yes.
I love this franchise. And man, watching what it has become over the years has to be one of the most painful experiences of my life as a gamer. Combat Evolved was the game that helped me make friends. I went to LAN parties and I played it for hours. And I did the exact same thing with Halo 2. These were the games that made gaming a social experience for me. Hell, I didn't even own an Xbox or either game, but I was playing them constantly, like every single week. Then I saved up all summer and bought an Xbox.
That was me with the 360. I would play with cousins and whatnot. It wasn't until high school that when I forgot my first job, spent my first check on an Xbox 360 and Halo 3. I was playing 1 and 2 for the longest time, and then I finally got my hands on Halo 3. Oh,
360 at launch and played Halo 3, and that was effectively just my identity for many years after that. But I don't think people understand the respect that Halo deserves. Combat Evolved wasn't just a good game, it was the game. It controlled so flawlessly that it felt like an extension of your own body. It became the blueprint for how first-person shooters are still played on controller today. The story pulled you in, the scale felt impossible, the characters were unforgettable, and the music was just so perfect that it possessed your own gameplay. Halo changed how shooters controlled, how stories were presented, how cutscenes were made, and the role that music could play in all of it. These games quite literally changed the course of gaming, and it all started with Combat Evolved. So you would think with that kind of legacy, with the legacy of this franchise, the nostalgia surrounding it, and the original being such a known quantity, deserving of respect, a remake of that game that started everything would feel monumental. But somehow, these guys managed to make a game that nobody gives a shit about.
yeah.
And there's good reason for that, because Xbox and Halo Studios have completely decimated this franchise's reputation and relevance so badly that they felt like they needed to go into witness protection and change their own name. Then, for whatever reason, they thought it was worthwhile to come out charging $50 for a campaign-only remake with no competitive...
Again, I don't agree with this. Like, I'm trying to remember. I think when... I think Dead Space was the one that was like $50. Resident Evil was like $40 or something. Like one of them was, it's either flip or flop. Those definitely felt worth it. You are buying less of a game without multiplayer, and this is a remake. It would be it'd be one thing if it had multiplayer. Then for $50, it makes sense. Just because you're like, oh, it's $10 less than what, or $20 less than what our modern games would be. Yeah, but this is a remake of an old game, and any remake or remaster is usually very cheap at base anyways, because of the fact that people already probably own the base game. So you're double dipping by giving $10 less, but you're also saying that you're getting $10 less. Not just because it's an old game that we're remaking, but it's also because it doesn't have multiplayer. No. You drop it another $10. You drop another $20. You make this $40. Make this a $40 game at base, and then you spend $10 more for the premium edition.
Multiplayer, while also charging
I bought Dead Space for $59.99. It was so good.
$70 for the premium edition that got you a couple of days early access and some god-awful looking skins. A game
they were really bad. There's only like one or two
more
good.
than the entire Master Chief Collection, which is the first 6 games. Like, this is such a joke. The value proposition here makes absolutely no sense. Why would anybody want to buy this? Oh, wait, that's right. They didn't. Campaign Evolved launched to a whimpering 25,000 peak concurrent players on Steam. And
also, I don't know if he's going to say it, it didn't do better on PlayStation. In fact, PlayStation, again, people didn't show up, which I think it's the PlayStation tax. And when I say PlayStation tax, it's because no one wants to fucking support PlayStation. So that's why. Talking about support, if you guys would give me your attention, and unlike PlayStation, if you would support me, I would appreciate it.
Players. You know you want to hit that subscribe button. That's right, players. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video. Don't forget to hit that bell. When you subscribe, you're going to hit that little bell, and there might be another bell. Hit those bells. Ring my bell, player. Ring my bell. Come on, you know you want to subscribe to the channel. Player, if you don't subscribe to the channel, you're a broke boy, and I'm saying it. Now, if you excuse me, I've got to go ruin some modern games by adding more MTX. That's right, baby.
Thank you very much for those that hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you very much. And well, let's continue on.
Clockwork, I'm already starting to see people use Game Pass and the fact that the game was multi-platform to try to excuse those numbers. Never mind the fact that we just watched Pal World for now the second time.
Hold on. This is a Hidden Xperia. It was also very critical. This is such a pointless endeavor. Campaign Evolved is a campaign-only game in early access on 3 different platforms and available on Game Pass. I think there's merit. However, we apparently also got information, I think, about Game Pass, and there wasn't that many people buying or playing the game. And Halo Studios or Xbox have not put out, player numbers or sales or anything like that, which is kind of a red flag. Most people, this is Halo. They just, this is the kind of game you put your dick on the table the moment it pops the fuck off. It did not. I like it. But I'm also brutally honest, it didn't pop off. So, the fact that, not even Sony put their dick on the table for this game tells you everything you need to know.
We'll use Game Pass and the fact that the game was multi-platform to try to excuse those numbers. Never mind the fact that we just watched Pal World for now the second time, reached nearly 1 million players, and it's on Game Pass and also on...
I would also argue that if you look at Halo Infinite, even though Halo Infinite really was awful, it still pulled decent launch numbers. So that's not even an argument either.
Every other platform other than Nintendo. Now, I've seen a lot of people that have been talking about this game, so I went and gave it a shot. Now, I've played a good bit of Campaign Evolved, and I think the best way to describe this game is that it's like Halo, but with a smoke detector that's chirping at you every 30 seconds. The game is still good because it's combat evolved underneath. It's one of the best games ever made. It largely has the same maps, the same story, and the same gameplay, but every time I started to comfortably slip back into it, something would happen and immediately remind me that something was wrong. I loaded up the game. I heard that iconic theme song start playing. I got a little bit excited, and then I found out that I couldn't even play this game without connecting a Microsoft account on Steam. Tell me why a campaign only...
I just got triggered. There's no fucking way he put in a fire alarm chirp. He did not just put the fire fucking alarm. Dude, that's throwing me back to my my RA. Back in college, I was an RA. This triggers me so much.
Wrong. I loaded up the game. I heard that iconic theme song start playing. I got a little bit excited, and then I found out that I couldn't even play this game without connecting a Microsoft account.
Fuck you. Fuck you. He did add the fire. Fuck you. I hate that chirp. I fucking hate that chirp.
On Steam. Tell me why a campaign-only game requires a non-optional Microsoft login for something that I have already purchased.
I will say, Halo Studios, Microsoft, Xbox Studios, you deserve one of these.
Everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
And just so we're clear, Microsoft is fondling its own balls. Ball fondler in this case is they're fondling their own balls.
Multiple times at this point on multiple platforms. God, I hate modern gaming. It's like every single one of these companies is just trying to figure out a new way to inconvenience the player before you even play some of these games.
It was awful.
It's all for their own benefit.
I don't even know if he's going to mention it. This was before the launch bug. If you were on PC, you had to go through Steam and you had to go through the DLC and untick the stupid manual, because for some fucking reason when you downloaded everything, it would launch the manual every time. So you had to untick it so it would actually launch the game. Then you would launch the game, and then you would have to sign into an account, which would then send you a thing to another account, then sign into that account that even though you're connected to your Steam account, it was awful.
Likely just looking to farm my personal data or something like that. Of course, the annoyances don't stop there. I swear they upped Cortana's dialogue, tutorializing every single action that you take.
It was really bad.
Go left, go right. Let me mark the cloaked enemies on screen so that you don't miss them. They even did it with these elites that were hiding in trees that are supposed to jump down and surprise you.
Oh my God. I thought those were jackals, but they were the elites with the swords. I didn't even notice that.
Mind you, this was on legendary difficulty.
So
the main selling point of this game is that it's a massive graphical overhaul, and at times it does look great. I thought the silent cartographer looked gorgeous, but Halo Studios' interpretation of the original completely ruins the texture of this game.
What the fuck was
has
that?
this glossy finish to it. Like the entire game is just laminated and covered in Vaseline. Everything related to the Covenant is just another shade of shiny purple. Then we get to some of the more creative liberties that they've taken with cutscenes and voice acting. They brought back most of the same voice actors from the original, but
Steve
the
Harvey
direction is just so weird in this game. There are so many scenes that were recorded, and it feels like there's just no context that was given. They have strange inflection, long pauses, these delayed reactions, and also these really weird Marvel movie shots where the character is just staring into the camera and smiles. It feels like a parody of a game that you love. In trying to make everything,
it feels Sergeant Johnson like, especially at the beginning where he's just staring at you when he smiles, like you greenhorns wanted to see coming up close, and he's at the end he's smiling like, what are you, Deadpool?
more dramatic. They just kind of suck the soul out of the entire game. They removed the intrigue and the mystery of the ring world. They spoiled certain parts of the story with these added and completely pointless cutscenes. They turned Cortana and Sergeant Johnson into cartoon characters, and it just doesn't feel like Halo. It feels like a caricature of Halo made by someone who knows what it looks like but doesn't understand why any of it worked. And that's when I realized that 343 or Halo Studios or whatever these guys want to call themselves, they still do not understand this franchise.
No.
After more than a decade of them making these games, all the answers are sitting directly in front of them. Every tool is at their disposal, and they still don't understand how to faithfully copy someone else's homework. And the more that I played, the more that I realized that I don't even think they ever wanted to copy it. They don't want to make Halo for the people who already love it. They want to make Halo for somebody else. They want to make Halo for the...
They want to make Halo their Halo. But they tried making their Halo. They tried it. Well, 4, I liked 4. I know I'm the minority. But I would say 4 was like the least of abominations. They made 5 and Halo Infinite. And that was their version. Halo 5 is what they really wanted their game to be. Everyone thought it was dog shit. Then they're like, okay, let's try to somewhat appease people with Halo Infinite, and even that was dog shit. So they're like, okay, well, I guess we can remake the original Bungie Halo, but we're gonna try to do what we can to make it our Halo. It's like, bro, it's like, I hate people that take other people's like design, their things, and try to make their own bullshit with it. Like, if you don't want to work on something, then don't. Stop trying. Like, I hate, like, you see this in movies where people try to take someone else's work and then they have to completely alter it. It was the same thing with the Halo TV show. Instead of just following the story that was real, I was like, no, we're going to do the silver timeline and we're going to give our interpretation of what we think it would like. And it was dog shit. You would think we would learn by now to stop trying to make your bullshit and give people what they want, because no one wants that bullshit
themselves. And this became blatantly obvious when you look at some of the more pointless additions that they made to the game, like going through the entire game to add more female Marines and soldiers for whatever reason. Halo's audience has always been overwhelmingly male. So seriously, what does this accomplish? Like, game developers that are watching this video right now, why do you guys do this? Has any woman ever...
I'm going to say, like, I can see the argument if the ratio is more women than male. I can understand it being frustrated, but at the same time, the concept of that there is more women than there used to be, like, have you ever been to the fucking military? Like, sure, the ratio is more men than women, but there are still women in the military, and there have always been women in Halo. So I feel like this is the weakest fucking argument, and the problem isn't that there's women's. The argument is that they're not even given good dialogue, or like, they're written poorly. Like, we're not talking about Tomb Raider dialogue. We're not talking about, I'm trying to think who's another badass in gaming. I don't know if Metro Prime, I don't know if she actually talked, but like Metro Prime, that's a woman badass, right? So the narrative is just completely trash for these 3 bonus missions.
Looked at a few generic female NPCs in a science fiction shooter about aliens and galactic genocide and thought, you know what? Now I'll play Halo. No, it has to be all performative. I mean, they added these prequel missions centered around Lieutenant Williams and Odie.
I mean, I see 2 men and 2 women led by 1 female. I don't know, man.
EST, who spends most of her time talking down to Master Chief and acting like she's the main character. I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if she has more dialogue than anyone outside of Cortana. These missions...
but that's the lore. That is lore accurate, is that ODST fucking hated the Spartans. However, it was shitty narration.
Feel like they exist almost entirely just to showcase her, and they all take place aboard a ship called the Triumph of Tolerance. I am dead. Honestly, you guys couldn't have made this more obvious if you tried. The defense that I have seen is that the ODSTs have always hated Spartans, and anyone who thinks her hostility feels forced is apparently just a tourist that just doesn't understand the lore.
I mean, there's some truth to that.
Complete bullshit. That entire argument comes from one section of the book, The Fall of Reach, where and
it wasn't like, bro. It was like, you know what? He's right. You know what? I'm changing my opinion. He's right. He's right. And here's why he's right. It's not in the game. It's also in the anime too, by the way, or the Halo Legends. But he's right. As a gamer, you don't give a shit or should give a shit unless it's in the game. And it's in the game now, but done shittily. So you know what? He's right. Because that's been my motto, even with Destiny and every other fucking game. I don't want to read a book. I don't want to read side shit to know core details. I don't. So he's right.
12-year-old Chief kills 2 ODSTs in an incident that was covered up. Something, by the way, that apparently Bungie tried to cancel because they didn't want a defined backstory for Master Chief. That's book lore. Bungie has never built their games right.
Again, also Halo Legends, there was the ODSTs and the one Spartan that, you know, sacrificed herself, and then they changed their opinion. It was a whole thing. But again, that is other stuff that has, I get it, right? And I agree with him. It needs to be in game and it needs to be done right.
Around that idea, and they never built their idea around ODSTs hating Master Chief and spending entire missions trying to prove himself to these people. No. Williams talking down to Chief is not some deep, lore-accurate detail only real fans understand. It's a newly invented character being shoved into a remake just so she can posture over the hero that everyone actually came to see, because the people that are making this game don't respect the audience or the franchise.
I would also argue, I will reinstate what the biggest thing that would also support his argument. But the thing is they don't respect Master Chief in general as a character because they make him chat and talk the entire damn time. And that's never been his character.
An original Halo developer came out mocking it. And the response to that was that apparently, well, old Bungie developers are just horrible people. What are we doing?
Yeah, I did. Listen, I didn't agree with everything he said. But people are freaking stupid. This dude made Halo 1, 2, and 3. Like, what are you out of your mind? Oh, guys, I know better than the developer of this iconic trilogy. Like, even I'm not going to be like, what are you stupid?
Some of the gameplay changes are fine. And honestly, I think the game can actually look absolutely gorgeous at times. I don't think that everything has to play exactly as it did 25 years ago. And I'm not against modernizing an old game, at least, you know, to some degree. But do these changes actually improve Combat Evolved, or are you just doing it for yourself? I mean, everything that I enjoyed was already made for them. The weapons that Bungie designed, the enemies Bungie created, the levels Bungie built, the story, the music, the characters, and the gameplay loop. All this stuff was inherited by Halo Studios. The new missions don't meaningfully expand on the original. They interrupt it. The added cutscenes that they put in don't make the story deeper. They just over-explain things that were better left mysterious, spoil missions way before they even happen, and also give newly added characters more attention than the Master Chief. They didn't add anything to Combat Evolved that it was missing. They were adding things just because they wanted their fingerprints all over it.
Exactly.
That brings me back to the question, who is this game even for? This wasn't a Halo game that was made for Halo.
I said this about Marathon. This is a game to catch fish in another pond. Also, I think this was another pond that doesn't exist, but also to get PlayStation, again, that fish in the pond, but also to get new people who've never played Halo to try to get them in. And starting at the first, they're using that. But this is also like a Unreal demo test, right? So there's multiple points on the graph that you could point at. But either way, it didn't work.
Fans, this is a Halo game that was made for Halo Studios, for Xbox, for their investors, and for an imaginary audience that these guys still think they can find. And looking at these numbers, it doesn't look like they're showing up. But better luck next time, champ. I'm sure you're going to get them. I'm tired, man. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of watching some of the greatest franchises out there get drugged through the mud just because somebody has a chip on their shoulder over the direction a series had took, over the people that originally had made it, over the audience that they inherited. No.
You know what's real sad is that even Bungie, and even before the Destiny 2 team got shut down, I don't even think that original team could make a remake of Halo CE and do it justice. I don't think anyone at this point could do justice.
I'm tired of it. This is not your opportunity to inject your own fan fiction about how you're going to correct it.
And Bungie would, knowing the current narrative team at Bungie, they would absolutely put in their fan fiction.
That audience and correct this game. If you are making a remake, it needs to be.
We would probably see Master Chief, if Bungie did it, we would probably see Master Chief have sex with Cortana or a toaster.
Especially for a classic like this. There is no in between. And instead, what do? We get Combat Evolved that's layered in millennial cringe, shiny surfaces.
Oh my God, the chrome.
Fantastic. Thank you for the $60 or $50 remake of a campaign. What are you guys doing? You know, I saw somebody that was in response to the people that were mad about the game saying, "Oh no, I can't believe it. The Chuds found Halo." Those were the guys that were forged in Halo 3 lobbies. That
is funny. This is the funny thing. Hey, listen, forget all the grifting bullshit that is happening. There is absolutely grifters, the people that have never played the game that are absolutely just jumping on the hate wagon, whatever. But to go and say the Chuds found Halo, that is the Halo fans. That is who the game was made for, who it is made by. Bungie themselves were Chuds. They were the Chads in the end before they, went downhill. The Halo is the Chud game. And you are completely one of these. I'll pop it. I think I did it once, but I'll do it twice. You are one of these.
Everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard. Everybody.
You are fondling the balls of failed companies, failed attempts at trying to modernize things that are not Chud. Guess what, bitch? They are Chuds. These are Chud games made by Chuds for the Chuds. And if you don't do that, guess what? The Chuds don't show up, you don't make money.
That is the audience. That is the people that is supposed to be buying these games. In any other world, these guys would be the ones that would be making it one of the most played games this year, but that's not the case because they've sat around and watched studios like 343 and publishers like Halo Studios turn these games into corporate Frankensteins.
True.
The slower these guys are to realize that those Chuds are the actual audience and the people that would normally be buying your games, well, the more money you're just lining up to throw away. Halo already had Cortana, Miranda Keyes, Sergeant Johnson. Hell, it even had Veronica Dare. So when I see people that are getting upset and talking about, oh, you just don't want females in your games, blah, 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 blah. No, that's not the case. It's never really been the case. Nobody needed to lecture anybody about those characters because they were so well written. They made so much sense for who they were and what they were. The problem isn't the inclusion of, it's that these writers, they substitute personality for characteristics. And it just falls flat. It's just so amateur and it's so transparent. They're just so bad at their job. That's why people get mad. Simple as that. People aren't angry because a franchise has changed. They're angry because the people that are changing them
don't respect the franchise,
what they're doing. They don't even understand what they're working on. They don't even respect the thing that they're working on. And when you think about that and you look at Halo, you kind of realize that it's not just Halo. This is something that's basically just the worst example of everything that's happening everywhere. So something that I hadn't noticed until it was pointed out on social media is that in the opening scene with Captain Keyes, the developers had swapped out the guy that was operating the ship in the original for a woman. And lo and behold, the person that they had...
Listen, I'm annoyed that they removed someone from Bungie. It being it being a black girl, a black woman, people. Someone really raked me over the coals for this. This is probably the most bottom tier. Let me tell you, if you are walking around hyper focused on random NPCs instead of playing the fucking game, I mean, NPCs that die. By the way, outside of Johnson, I don't think I didn't see another black Marine. This person was there, and you could say, well, they made that change. Yeah, okay. They added a black person. Damn, woke. Black person found. I'm more pissed off that they removed the original face, but they technically did that for the combat anniversary. But like, it doesn't matter. No, not really. Was it stupid to do? Like, yes, but they die. Everyone dies. And when you're playing the game, you don't ever see a black Marine. So like, I see the vision of people upset, like, oh, they just did that for tokenism, which is bullshit. I mean, I inherently, I do think it's that. I can see that being the issue being it's racist. Like, you just put a character that you will never see again. You just made some random character, some useless NPC black just for the case of it, and a woman just for the case of it. No, that's just inherently racist. But no one's pointing that out, by the way. It's just because it's a woman and they're black. That's bad. You changed it because they're woke versus I'd be pointing out the fact that this shit's actually racist if you think about it. Like you just did for tokenism. That's just racist.
Replaced was actually the face scan of one of the game's original developers, something that was later confirmed by Halo's composer, Marty O'Donnell. And while I would love to believe that this is some grand conspiracy trying to purposefully erase the former developers from the game, I actually think the truth is a lot more simpler and honestly a hell of a lot more damning. They had no idea. They probably had no idea at all. They didn't know who this guy was, why his face was there.
Probably true.
They were even removing a small piece of the actual team that created Halo. They just looked at the original, saw some generic guy in the background, and decided, hey, that guy needs to be replaced. And that single change represents the entire problem with Campaign Evolved, and honestly, with a lot of other games. The people that are remaking Halo,
they do not care about what makes the game the game. What with the heart and soul, which is the same thing about Halo TV. Is that they just like, oh, put guns and shooting and then that's it. That's all. That's Halo. In his mind, the frame that he's putting in, yes, he is completely right that it wasn't like I'm thinking it was more nefarious, but they don't even care and they don't even see like the companies like this don't even see how stupid, even racist they're doing. It's just tokenism to put a generic character. You're now a woman, black. No one will ever care, but we're putting in just for the tokenism of it. It's not nefarious in that regard, but it's racist by recklessness, and it shows that they don't give a shit about what made the game special and unique, which is why most of the secrets and Easter eggs in the game are gone. A lot of the secrets are gone, and that kind of makes me a little terrified now I think about it. For Halo 2, there's some really cool secrets, like the energy sword by Rex's name, or the giant, the giant soccer ball, or the scarab gun that's on the top of the Metropolis buildings that you have to, worm in and get a Banshee, which is a bitch and a half to do. I have to do that sometime, but it was a bitch and a half to do to get the scarab gun. But Yeah.
don't understand the history that they inherited. They don't see the human fingerprints that are left throughout the entire game or care why certain decisions were made. They just see an old product filled with things that they can update, correct, and replace with their own ideas. That's what happens when we have franchises that outlive the people that created them. The names, the characters, the music, and imagery all get passed down, but the understanding doesn't. The new developers inherit everything other than the reason why any of it mattered. And I think this is where we get into the real problem with not only Halo, but almost every single franchise that has gone on this long. The original games were made because somebody wanted to make them. Bungie had an idea, they had a vision, and then Halo existed because they thought it should exist. Now Halo exists because Microsoft owns Halo. The people that made it are gone. The reason it existed is gone, but the name is still worth money, so somebody has to be making it. And the people who inherit the game are handed all the recognizable parts, the green armor, the purple aliens, the music, the ring, and assume that that means that they understand it. They know what Halo looks like, but they don't know what Halo is. And when I look at all the changes that 343 and Halo Studios have made over the years...
There used to be a ramp right there. Why did they remove the fucking ramp?
Almost every single one of them feels like it's an attempt to run away from the audiences that built the franchise because, well, those are the people who actually know what the game is. Halo 4 chased Call of Duty with its custom loadouts, armor abilities, and story that was buried under...
The story at the end, like halfway at the end, the story sucks. The beginning part was, I liked it. And I liked the multiplayer. I'm sorry. I know I'm in the minority.
Book lore that made the entire thing just so damn convoluted.
Oh, it was
Halo
so
5
stupid,
pushed
the
that
books.
even further with advanced mobility, loot boxes, and no split-screen multiplayer, even though sitting next to your friends and playing this game was quite literally the foundation that this game was built on. But the worst of the damage was always the characters in the story. Halo was about humanity facing extinction and somehow still holding the line. It was about duty, sacrifice, brotherhood, and people trusting each other even though everything else around them felt impossible. Master Chief wasn't just some emotionless guy in armor. He represented strength, responsibility, and the humanity that was still buried underneath it all. Cortana wasn't just his sarcastic AI sidekick. She was still his connection to that humanity, the one person or the one AI that he could trust, and their relationship became the emotional core of the entire series. Then 343 turned Cortana into a villain. And looking at how she's...
Not only a villain, but crazy ex-girlfriend villain. I want to fuck Master Chief villain. Like... this whole romance bullshit that they try to insinuate, like, oh, I love you, Master Chief. Like, it was so awful.
Portrayed in the remake, it feels obvious that they're just trying to make her seem slightly unstable or more unstable from the very beginning, just so they can make it feel like their version of Cortana is inevitable. They're doing the exact same thing with these bonus missions, trying to fabricate this divide between ODSTs and the Spartans to inject hostility into a story.
He makes a great point. That's exactly what I said in my review. Not what he said, but that her personality, they gave her a god complex in the control room, the Assault control room cutscene. That they completely changed that by giving her a god complex, and it was really weird. It's like, what?
That was fundamentally about people standing together against something much larger than themselves. And I think that's where the divide with players comes in, and it comes in every single time with series like this because we already know what this series meant. We already knew what these characters represented, what these stories were trying to say, and what Halo meant to us. But then we have somebody that's coming in, inheriting it all, and starting to force their own version of reality into a franchise like the audience somehow misunderstood it for the last 25 years. Suddenly the heroes need to be torn down. The people that are fighting to save humanity need to be treated with suspicion, and every single relationship needs to get reframed through the same generic, tired idea that modern entertainment has been pushing for years. What if the good guys were actually the bad guys the entire time? None of this makes Halo better. They're only doing this because they want to subvert the audience, correct the original, and try to attract some imaginary group of people that supposedly just wants their version of the game. It's revisionism that is just driven by whatever political or cultural arguments are happening right now, forced into stories that people have loved for decades. And instead of just creating something new that reflects their own worldview, they take something that already means something to millions of people, hollow it out, and then just wear it like it's a costume. And I think this is where these games eventually just start turning into these corporate Frankensteins, because the people that are making these games either don't understand the audience or don't want to have anything to do with them. And because of that, every single part of it just starts getting pulled in all these different directions. You have executives that want more growth. You have marketing departments that want wider demographics. You have developers that want to put their own spin on it. And whatever made the franchise successful in the first place is just something that is just fighting for more space. The game has to keep that recognizable name, the characters, and the imagery, because that's what carries value, at least in their eyes, but everything underneath it can get replaced. It needs the current writing trends, the current gameplay trends, the current politics, the current monetization strategy, and whatever else these companies think is going to make it appeal to more people or make them more money. And eventually, well, it just becomes a collection of things that all tested really well in a meeting, but really didn't make a whole lot of sense when you...
Well, so here's another thing that's not been talked about, is that if you look, there's a shit ton of YouTubers that played and gave feedback about this game. Now, based on the beta or alpha, whatever it was, the game did improve from what it was. I'm very curious what some of the feedback was, and especially narrative wise. Like there's a bunch. Apparently, there was also a bunch of awful YouTubers that should have never been invited. I don't know about that, but there was some no names. Like Xperia was one of them, and I don't know. We'll see. But I did notice that one of the Merabots that goes by Holotides apparently also gave feedback. If they like Marathon, that explains some of the choices probably in Halo 2.
Actually put them to a video game. And Halo is nowhere near the only franchise that this has happened to. We have watched Battlefield move further and further away from the class-based, team-driven warfare that made Battlefield what it was, because they decided they needed specialists, quippy characters, and whatever Call of Duty was doing at the time. Saints Row went from a franchise with a very specific identity and an audience to a reboot that seemed embarrassed of both, replacing the entire cast with characters built for people that, I probably never even wanted to play a Saints Row game in the first place. Assassin's Creed became so obsessed with size, retention, and selling content that it barely
that is something that I hated, that they went to it like an open world, like it was just it really fell after, what was it, Syndicate. That's when they start going down the rabbit hole of, is this even Assassin's Creed anymore? They did the Egyptian one, then Odyssey is like, what are we even doing here? This doesn't even look, you're not even an assassin anymore. You're now something completely different.
Resembles the historical stealth games that people fell in love with.
Exactly.
I mean, these people that are making these games today are openly embarrassed about the games.
And you could say, what about the pirate game? The pirate game. I think that was a good point too. But I feel like, even though it was not much of a stealth assassin-y because it was pirates, it's fucking pirates, and people would want a pirate game anyway. So I think that's why people gave it a Black Flag and pass. But outside of that, like, man, people want that classic Assassin's Creed, vibe.
Working on in the past that they came from. Ubisoft just remade Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and they censored all of the women's outfits to make them less problematic.
Shot.
Oh God.
They censored the tatas?
God, cleavage.
I'm sure there's mods to fix that.
How disgusting. How dare they have something like that in my video game? You can go throughout the entire industry and see the same process everywhere. The name stays the same because that name makes money, but the actual identity gets watered down one decision at a time. Every new team comes in and wants to modernize it, try to broaden it, try to make it their own, and nobody seems willing to admit that maybe the reason that the franchise was valuable was because it already belonged to someone. I just don't get how these guys don't understand this. You cannot spend decades removing everything from a specific franchise and still expect the name to carry it by itself. At a certain point, people are going to stop showing up because, the thing that they loved is gone. The logo is still there. The characters might still have the same names. The marketing is going to tell you it's a bold new era. Oh man, this game is going to look so good. But the soul of it has been replaced by whatever the current people in charge want it to be. And when these new audiences that they're chasing never arrive, these guys never go back. They just blame the old audience, reboot it again, and then drag out another piece of the past and hope that nostalgia can carry these guys one more time. And that's exactly how we end up with a game like Campaign Evolved. You know, I'd recently seen this article that was talking about how we may never see another Dragon Age the Veilguard game or Dragon Age game again. And part of that is due to what Dragon Age the Veilguard did.
Oh, it was a bad abomination.
But the other part of it is, well, because the studio actually doesn't have any of the people that used to be there that still understand the old tech, and there's no third-party studios that understand the old tech that those games are made under as well. So nobody actually has access to any of the old files, and they can't even remake or remaster those games or continue forward with them because there's nobody there to do it. Now, part of that is institutional knowledge not being passed down, some people being let go, but I think this is what happens when you have a publisher or a studio that's investing into something just out of obligation, and then you have people that are making it that clearly just have no interest in doing anything other than things for themselves. These guys had an opportunity to be able to learn about some of the older games and where these games came from, but they were more focused on the game that they were involved with rather than the past that made them. It's all this factory made mentality that is just absolutely infecting the games industry at this point, where these guys think that just because they have the mold and because they have the IP rights that they can just continue to make these games with different people. But I think that that couldn't be any further from the truth. These guys simply just do not understand these games. They do not respect their past, and they don't respect their audiences either. And I think that shows in a lot of the AAA games and a lot of the AAA franchises that we've seen come and now go in a lot of cases over the years. You know, part of me is of the mind that a lot of this stuff should just be left out to greener pastures.
That's how I feel. I've been letting him go and go. I think Halo, listen, they're going to do the remakes. I'm going to play them. I don't give a shit. I'm going to play them, right? But then that's that. I think it should end. It should be over. It should be done. I think they should learn from the mistakes. They should hate. I swear to, I will be very aggressive with Halo 3. If it's not, and if there's no multiplayer too, I'm not going to hold back. Like, I'm not going to be happy. But they should let Halo die. They should be, here's the original from us. We're done. Or do I won't even say do prequels, because they've shown us what that looks like. Prequels, like, I don't think they could do Halo Reach like Bungie did. I don't think they could do any other prequels. I just have zero faith. Like, anything original, I have zero faith in.
Maybe it's time to let some of these IPs go, at least for now.
Let them rest.
Things are just way too locked into current day culture. Everything in AAA today, everything in entertainment has to be about what's happening in the world right now, or some reflection of what's happening in the world right now. And I just don't think that it is, I don't think it's good for video games. I don't think it's good for entertainment. If you look at a game like Halo, Halo was not, it wasn't a reflection of the times that made it. The only reflection of the times that made it was the fact that these guys weren't distracted with anything else. It was a timeless game because it was allowed to be that way. It wasn't trying to tell you about any social affairs that were happening in the news that day. It didn't have anything to do with that. But today, everything has to have some level of embellishment or some level of inclusion of current day culture in one way, shape, or form. And I think that it absolutely destroys these games, and it makes absolutely no sense when you're doing it inside of games that already exist, especially in games that have a long history like Halo or something like that. A game that was never created from that kind of climate, now trying to be adapted to it, just feels wrong. And that's why people get upset, which is sad, because I think mechanically, Combat Evolved is actually pretty much fine. Like, a lot of the things that I thought would really bother me, things like sprint or being able to ADS with certain weapons where you couldn't before.
I'm going to say the ADS part, I didn't even like realize it until like, oh, I'm ADSing a lot. It actually felt fine. Like, as a modern change, aiming down sight, like hip firing, yeah, but aiming, like, I thought it was fine. I think it was done well. It didn't feel like that was the intrusive aspect of the game.
Or maybe even use weapons that normally wouldn't fit that, you know, Halo Evolved archetype. A lot of that stuff was fine. And also, at a lot of times, the game could look really good. I didn't really like a lot of the art direction that they had in some cases.
Yeah.
These guys also completely destroyed any sense of scale. I don't know if you guys ever looked at the difference between the starting screen from the original Combat Evolved and Campaign Evolved, but like, all the added detail actually just makes the ring look smaller and a lot less intimidating or a lot less interesting in a lot of cases. And
that's,
I think, like,
here there for me.
Just another thing that sometimes gets lost. It's just sad to see something that was turned into what it was especially when it used to be so good. Sad, man. Anyway, tell me what you guys think. Do you guys think that some of these franchises should just be...
I'm going to go ahead and just to say, I think overall, I agree with what his general statement is, but I also disagree that I don't think it's at the severity of what he's portraying it as. I think it's a cautionary tale that, you know, this, sure, this is, you know, copy the homework. They made some stupid changes, but you can't ignore 3 bonus missions for original content. That's a yikes for me. And also, there's no multiplayer, so this should have been a slam dunk. So in that sense, he's right, but I don't think it's an absolute abomination. Like, you could play this game, get the Halo feel, and be okay. But is it worth the full $50? Unless you're like me and you're reacting to it or doing a brutally honest review, then no. I mean, I probably would have bought it anyways as a Halo stan, and I'm a Halo purist. But it would, like, I still would have consumed the shit out of it like I did Dead Space and Resident Evil, but I still would have bitched about it anyways. But yeah. I appreciate you guys, checking out the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. The link to his video will be down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys.